Warning, this podcast will contain a whole bunch of spoilers.
If you haven't watched it yet, what's wrong with you?
That too. What's up, everyone, and welcome to another special episode of the S.H.I.E.L.D. on TV podcast for Daredevil. This one is going to be a Marvel Cinematic Universe Connections discussion. I'm your host, Mike, and joining me are Dom.
What's going on?
Yeah, much, and Erica. And Cleo.
Hello.
Hello, Governor.
Hello.
You're now a governor. Don't judge me. Call you a governor if I like to. So,
Okay.
we've done a couple episodes before, and we've been holding off on talking about the Easter eggs, the cinematic universe tie-ins, and what other potential things they can... I mean, we somewhat know where they're going with Daredevil and the Defenders and stuff like that. But aside from mentioning that, hey, look, the Battle of New York was in Ulrich, Urich's background in his office, we haven't discussed any other implications.
It wasn't just that wasn't the only thing that was in his background.
Oh, no.
He also mentioned the what was it, Harlem Terror, which was the Hulk.
Right,
incident.
the Harlem Terror was the Hulk incident, which everybody seems to forget about. I mean,
yeah.
You do got to realize that the beginning of this cinematic universe was Iron Man and the Edward Norton Hulk movie.
Yeah.
And they were so long ago that, I mean, the Hulk slips my mind. I don't know about other people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
phase one
I mean-
was forever ago.
I
At this-
want it to slip my mind.
And I think why it slips everyone's mind is because it's not the Mark Ruffalo Hulk.
Right, and Mark Ruffalo did such a great job as Bruce Banner. And started how many fan fictions of Iron Man Hulk love stories. And, to his credit, Edward Norton wasn't bad.
Get in, bitch. We're gonna go do science.
I mean, Edward Norton wasn't that bad. It was still one of the early Phase 1 movies when the cinematic universe was still winding up. It was far better than the Ang Lee movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing that movie had going for it was a Lou Ferrigno cameo. That was the best part of that. It was the best part of that movie.
The
There's
Ang
Lou
Lee movie
Ferrigno
that was...
and Stan Lee's cameo together, which was amazing.
Right. So, that was a long time ago. Anyway, here we go. Let's talk about Easter eggs. I want an Easter egg. I want an Easter egg.
Well,
Shut up.
Easter was like a couple
Weeks
weeks
ago.
ago.
If
So.
you want an Easter egg, then when they go up to the table that they're supposed to make their police announcements at, and you look directly to the cop's right shoulder, or his left shoulder, but to his right on the camera, you'll see Stanley's picture hanging on the wall.
It's like an Officer of the Month plaque or something like that.
Yeah.
And there's Stan Lee, big shit-eating grin on his face.
Man,
So-
He's
it's
got the sunglasses on and everything in that picture.
Does he? I thought he just
Yeah.
had his seeing glasses, his normal glasses.
I gotta look. I had a
yeah, right. I
picture.
gotta check that shit.
There's a picture up. I had to scroll up. He's got sunglasses on. So he makes it into... Yes, he does.
Hard to tell. It's blurry. It's like in the background.
Right, but he makes it into every Marvel production.
Almost
So far.
every.
Almost
every. It's every Marvel character that he created is the actual rule for
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Except when it comes to Fox and their X-Men, they don't like to put Stan Lee in the most recent X-Men. So
Cleo's
I
pondering.
guess not. I'm pondering. I was trying to remember.
So he was in Fantastic Four. They put him in that.
Doesn't count.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Talking
count.
about good ones.
We're talking about good. Hey, he actually used his real name in Rise of the Silver Surfer.
well, keep in mind those are not actually part of the MCU. So.
True. Very true. So there was Stan Lee. We already mentioned there was the Battle in New York. And there were a whole bunch of others that I don't know if you guys caught. I didn't catch half of these, to be perfectly
yeah, I know,
honest.
me neither.
Like, I knew that Nobu was a significant character from the comics. I had no idea he was a member of the Hand, the ninjas.
Mm-hmm.
No idea. Not even didn't even slip into my mind while I was watching it. I'm like, who is this guy? He's mysterious. Yeah. So, I don't know if I want to just do a whole episode pointing out Easter eggs, but
I mean, we can go through the ones that are probably going to be the most important.
Well, the big ones, the ones that I think everybody in their right mind should have caught was Carl Creel.
right.
Yeah.
If
Right.
Carl the Crusher Creel, the last opponent that Battle and Jack Murdoch fought, turns out to be, if you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2 in the beginning, he is Creel the Absorbing Man. Apparently he was an ex-boxer who wound up in prison, and he gained, comic-wise, the ability to absorb the properties of anything he touched after drinking something laced with a magic potion that was made by Loki.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know how they didn't really explain how he got those powers in the MCU in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
There was just it was just mentioned that it was a freak occurrence. I don't know. But there's a big one that everybody and their mother should have got.
Yeah, we don't know if he's like a Inhuman. We don't know if he's an Inhuman.
Right.
Like, we don't have the whole story on him yet, but we did get the crossover there. We had one other crossover to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that was kind of minor. I don't know if you guys caught. But the Matt Murdock, when he was talking to what's the guy's name? Stick?
Yeah.
That was at the St. Agnes orphanage.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same orphanage that Skye was in.
Oh, okay. I thought it sounded familiar.
was.
Yep.
Thought it sounded familiar.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so I wonder if Matt Murdock and Skye were there at the same time.
Aww.
That would be adorable.
Aww. Can we get like little Babu flashbacks, please?
That would be adorable. And as far as Absorbing Men goes, it has been mentioned in a few articles that Baron von Strucker has been experimenting with Loki's scepter, and that is how Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch come about receiving their powers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible that he was an early experiment with that, because he did work for Hydra.
He did, yeah.
Yes.
So that's a possibility, because I don't think he's an Inhuman.
No.
They seem to keep pretty good tabs on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So another one that I was looking for, but I missed, was Elektra. Because they mentioned that, there's an Elektra Easter egg, and people are like, oh my god, I caught it, I almost missed it and everything, and I just watched the whole series. I'm like, I didn't catch it. Where the hell was it? And it was in a flashback scene, or it was in a conversation between Matt and Foggy, and they mentioned his Greek girlfriend back in college.
I didn't know she was Greek.
She is, yeah, I remember that.
Did not know she was Greek.
She has a long-winded Greek last name.
I didn't even know that.
Oh, that one where they're sitting on the steps talking?
Yeah.
Oh,
That was the
Yeah, they were
Elektra
talking
flashback.
about Elektra.
Gotcha. Yeah, I missed that one too.
Mm-hmm. And apparently the theory is that the sniper who shot all those cops was Bullseye.
It's Bullseye, yeah.
Yeah, because if you guys noticed, he did have a card.
Yeah.
He had an
see that.
ace, I believe it was in the bag.
Okay.
And Bullseye is famous for having playing cards.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
To bring it back to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Mike, do you know the name of the city in supposed China that,
Yes, Afterlife.
Afterlife? Okay.
That's
Because, well, actually, we should probably talk about Madame Gao first, who we think she is.
Madame Gao. The theory is that she is Crane Mother, ruler of one of the 7 capital cities of heaven.
mm-hmm.
I forget which one. It's not Kunlun, where Iron Fist is from. It's another one. I don't remember.
Well, I mean, because one of the other on that same list you have of Easter eggs is Kunlun,
Oh,
and it's
right, it is.
when Madame Gao refers to a considerable distance farther than China, she's referring to Kunlao
Mm-hmm.
or Kunlun, and from the art they have there, that looks a heck of a lot in the Himalayas with all the big mountains. It looks a heck of a lot like the city in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
It does look a hell of a lot like that.
And as far as we know, nobody's ever gone there on foot. It's all been, as far as we know.
Well, yeah, because Kunlun was supposedly, in heaven or another dimension.
Yeah, what does it say? An extra-dimensional alien city hidden in the Himalayas.
Right. So that's possible.
So it might be the same place.
That's interesting.
Which makes me think maybe we'll see Madame Gao somewhere in S.H.I.E.L.D.
That would be pretty cool.
Somewhere in the background, cool. We should just, look.
I don't... Yeah.
I had mentioned that last week.
Oh, yeah?
You did?
It was. I don't remember if it was on the S.H.I.E.L.D. or if it was on Daredevil, but it was... Wait a minute, what if she pops up from Daredevil into S.H.I.E.L.D.?
On S.H.I.E.L.D., you mentioned it. We were talking about... Skye walking around that city and discovering all kinds of stuff about it. And you were like, oh, what if Madame Gao just pops in? And it's all like, oh, I had one shitty time in New York. Oh, that would be crazy. That would be an amazing time.
I didn't even know about these connections. I just that's maybe where she's from. I don't know.
This goes to show how terrible my memory is. I apologize.
That's okay.
Yeah, who knows where she's from.
So that's another big one. That would be pretty cool.
Another Iron Fist tie-in is symbol on the heroine packs is the symbol of the steel serpent.
Right.
Who is a...
Oh, yeah. It was like a question mark, right?
Yeah, it was a question mark, but it's actually like a dragon snake thing.
Right, right.
Because I thought it was a question mark, too. But looking at it right next to the steel serpent symbol, you can see it has the head ridge and the little tail.
Right, and you know what? That does make sense, because Steel Serpent was a pretty big Iron Fist villain, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So
the Iron Fist, we're not getting... That's going to be, what, the third one?
The last one.
It's the last one in the series before Defenders.
Yeah, because we're getting Jessica Jones, and then...
Luke Cage,
and then Iron Fist.
Okay.
But I think that we're going to see Iron Fist, at least in Luke Cage's, we're going to see him.
Yeah, I think we'll probably start seeing a couple of the other ones creep up now. The reason we did not during Daredevil, I think I mentioned this in our last Daredevil podcast, was the fact that no one else had been cast yet.
Very true.
So that would be a huge reason not to include anybody else in the series.
Mm-hmm.
But we know that Matt Murdock is Jessica Jones' lawyer in the comics, so I'm almost positive we're going to see Daredevil, at least Matt Murdock, show up in AKA Jessica Jones.
That would be pretty good.
And we're definitely going to see Jessica Jones and Luke Cage switch off between each other's shows, I bet.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm hearing about Jessica Jones is that it's going to be another origin like Matt Murdock's was. So it may not be that far ahead where, she actually has a lawyer and all that stuff and she's married and everything.
Right.
So it's probably... most likely is going to be another, this was Daredevil year 1.
Yeah.
This is, going to be Jessica Jones year 1.
Yeah.
So, that makes sense. You know what? It worked. I liked the way they did it.
But they're also going to have Daredevil season 2 also, so who knows where they're going to lace things in at.
Yeah.
So much stuff now.
I mean, that really banks on what happens with the Defenders, and we don't even know what the schedule and everything is. Daredevil season 2 doesn't necessarily mean it's coming out next year.
They said 2016.
Did they? Well,
yes.
When is Defenders coming out?
2017.
So we're gonna get 2 seasons of Daredevil before we get the Defenders. That's
really no. I thought that it was supposed to.
Doesn't seem right.
No, I thought that it was supposed to be over the next 2 years. We're gonna get all 4 Defenders.
The original shot was 1 a year. Laying into Defenders in 2019 or something like that. And then they changed.
We were supposed to get 2 a year.
Then they changed the plans to say now they're going to start dropping every show, like Daredevil season 2 is March of next year, in the same time slot. Jessica Jones is coming out, and then they'll start putting in like the Luke Cage and whatever else, and they'll just start throwing stuff together. And yeah, it's gonna be a big TV side of the cinematic universe as well as the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see what they do with like Fisk's character.
Oh
Like,
my god, yes.
He's the one that's got me interested the most because we know he plays such a big role across multiple Marvel universes as it is.
Yes,
so,
he's a pretty big villain across Marvel Comics. He's not just like a one-off, he's not like a one-off Spider-Man villain or some shit like that.
No.
Right.
So,
did you guys happen to catch there was a little joke about Kingpin between Vanessa and Fisk? Vanessa, she said something about how she was hit on by a man in a white suit and an ascot, and then Fisk goes, "That seems a little much."
oh my god.
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
I remember the joke, and you're right. Because Kingpin wore a white suit with an ascot.
Yeah, purple ascot. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that he made fun of the ascot. Like, yeah, that's a bit much there. That's a little bit over the top.
Hey, you know what? When Daredevil was written as a comic, I think ascots were popular.
Probably.
More popular than they are today. So this is them adjusting to the times, and
It's the
gracefully
same
so.
way. It's the same way. And when Fox did, I don't remember if it was X-Men 1 or 2. I think it was 2.
Oh no, it's the first one. You're talking
Was
about
it
Yellow
the first
Spandex?
one? No, they
Yellow Spandex?
actually showed Wolverine the like yellow costume or something like that, and he's like, "I'm not wearing this." It was like a post
there
scene.
was a joke in the first
It was a post scene
one.
credit in either the first or second movie.
Oh, okay. I remember.
I think
But I
it
know
was the
there was a
first one.
joke. They suited up in the black leather, and Wolverine complained, and then Cyclops went, "What would you prefer, yellow spandex?"
Yeah, no, they definitely said that, and then they showed it. I saw
Okay.
that. That's why I want to say it was the second one. It was when they were in the plane, and I believe it was at the end when the girl was like dead and she was coming back as Phoenix or something. Spoilers, whatever.
Spoilers, who cares?
There was a
Nobody
spoiler alert.
Nobody wants the Fox Marvel universe. Nobody cares about that.
No.
I would, yeah. I mean, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is doing just fine. Oh, I hate saying that.
Should we go ahead and announce now that we won't be covering the Fox movies?
Probably not.
Dom refuses.
I mean,
We've had an
if you guys-
internal post about that.
If you guys are interested in it, I just refuse to be a part of it.
No, I mean, it's, to me, thinking about it, I wouldn't want to do it, because we couldn't do stuff like this. Like, we're talking about all these, MCU movies. If we did the X-Men, it'd be like, what do we talk about? Just that one movie?
Right.
It's like,
Right.
I'm more upset with the fact that the Deadpool movie's coming out than anything. I don't even want that to be a thing. I want them to just stop right now.
I know.
I want Rachel to do a Deadpool podcast by herself.
Oh, God.
See,
I think that would be I would totally watch it.
as I was saying, I am very sad to say this, and it hurts, but Marvel Cinematic Universe is doing just fine without X-Men.
Yeah. Why does it hurt?
Because I want X-Men. They could do some amazing things with it, tying
Yeah.
it all together.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be right
No,
now.
you're right. It doesn't have to be right now, and like I said, they're doing just fine without it. But
Honestly, the only thing I'll miss is Wolverine from Civil War. That's literally the only thing I'll miss at the moment.
Here's
Yeah.
my prediction. I don't know if it'll come true or not, but say in the future, like 2019, 2020, somewhere right in there, Marvel, Disney goes to Fox like, yeah, here's this check we wrote Sony. You want some of this?
hey,
I think for Fox, and I think Fox will take a deal like that if their movies bomb bad enough.
it's really all they understand is dollar signs.
Because, I mean, honestly, that's kind of what happened with Spider-Man, so...
Yeah.
No, that's exactly what. Well, Spider-Man was a little different because internal Sony was having like its own little civil war. So that
Yeah,
kind of helped
Sony didn't really
the head
want
of
it
Sony to be
anymore.
like, fuck this.
Yep.
Do you
So,
think it's
Sony Pictures
possible?
probably would have held on to it, but
Do you think it's possible we could see Spider-Man creep up in any of these Defenders series?
ooh, that'd be great. Please.
It's almost guaranteed towards the end.
It is, because Spider-Man is very much a New York superhero.
And
Right,
the
but
current
Where did
cartoons, the current Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, features him heavily with Luke Cage and Iron Fist.
right?
wouldn't-
But where does the deal that they cut fall in? Because I don't remember exactly. Is it he's allowed to be in movies or he's allowed to be in the MCU?
I don't know the details of what, deal
The
they
the
cut.
first deal was for one movie, and then after that, they made a second deal, like covering pretty much anything,
Okay,
anything Marvel related. So
excellent.
Okay.
All right, that works. I mean, then they said Daredevil, Spider-Man is going to be a teenager again. When
I
he's-
wouldn't be shocked if they actually made a Netflix series for Spider-Man.
That would be really cool. They could do some great things with that.
I love
It'll be after
Spider-Man.
It'll be after the movies, but
Yes.
I wouldn't be shocked if they did.
And you know what? Unfortunately, as much as I want to see what, the current MCU, like, their stamp of quality on the Spider-Man thing.
I know when it comes to like having him show up in some of these other stuff and stuff, and they already said they're not gonna do the retelling and everything, but I wouldn't mind it again. Yeah, it would be the third time we got it in cinematic form. But
I think the problem with Spider-Man is a similar problem I'm having with Batman, is that we've seen his origins so many times.
We know
And I'm tired of Peter Parker, If they don't do something different with him, I'm not going to be happy. I think
they don't have
really
to
need
drag
do
it out
something
though,
different.
as long as they did for some of the other movies. Some of the other movies, it's like it takes on like the whole first hour is him becoming Peter Parker. Just handle that in like 20
if
minutes.
They do an art, it's not going to be long.
Yeah.
That doesn't
do
need
it
to
the
be
same
long.
way they did Daredevil. Like if Matt Murdock's origin of how he got blind with the chemicals and all that, that did not take up an entire episode.
Right,
That was
exactly.
the first 5 minutes of the show.
Yeah.
That was it.
And Spider-Man, he's not exactly as well known. Everybody knows Superman's origin. Like, everybody, pretty much, you go anywhere in the world and you will be hard-pressed to find someone who doesn't know Superman and his origin. Spider-Man's not that far behind.
He's not, yeah.
Exactly. Everybody knows Spider-Man. Oh, he was bitten by a radioactive spider. That may be the only detail they know, but that is like the main detail everybody knows.
Yeah.
So,
I gotta get bit by more spiders.
yeah, right. So, yeah, they don't need it. Just show, like, oh, look, I got bit by a spider. Like, 5 years later, or some crap like that. Or, 6 months later. And it shows him swinging through the streets, like, whee!
Yeah.
Or he could just already be Spider-Man. We just see flashbacks like we did with Daredevil. It's fine.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. There you go.
Yes.
That would work perfectly. I never realized how much I like Spider-Man.
I really
Why?
enjoyed Spider-Man.
He's
I don't know.
got a lot of different elements working for him. He's funny. He's charming.
Yeah.
He's the nerdy kid that doesn't get respect. He's got a lot of factors going for him.
And his
Speaking of Daredevil, real quick for the origin story that they did you guys notice that on the barrels was I don't remember the number now. The number was the date in which the first publication of Daredevil was.
Oh, cool.
was written.
I didn't get that.
But I didn't catch that either. Those are the minor details that I would not catch.
Those are the like stuff that I catch because I'll like pause it and I like look at the code and then I'll start Googling things.
It's like, I know this number means something.
And then I like miss out on like the next 20 minutes of the episode because I was Googling. I probably should have paused it, but I thought Googling on my phone and watching I could do two things at once. No.
No, you can't. But, yeah.
I don't remember now. Did we talk about Stick at all?
No, we didn't talk about Stick really much.
He's an asshole.
Yes, he
I like Stick.
is.
He's an asshole.
The one thing he never really gets around to talking about much is this eternal war. It's like you kind of get hints of it. Like, yeah, him and Madame Gao and everybody else is involved in it, but what's the war? What's the, you know, is it tied into something already existing in the MCU, or is it something completely different, or,
Well,
what?
according to this, Stick, the guy he was answering to, the guy named Stone, the scarred dude, apparently is a member of the Chast, and they're good ninjas, and Nobu is member of the Hand, and they're bad ninjas.
Oh, did he call him Stoner?
Yeah, so
Stick and stone can break my bones.
they very much can, and so, and Nobu knew about him, called
And
him a
they're gonna
blind
break
fool
bones.
or something like that. So maybe that's the eternal war they're talking about, the war between good ninjas and bad ninjas.
Mm-hmm.
And might I
Probably.
God, that fight scene was so amazing.
Which
It
one?
was.
Nobu kicking the crap out of Matt. The only reason Matt was alive is due to sheer dumb luck, unfortunately.
I don't know.
No.
I still think part of it was he did on purpose.
Now they mentioned another crime lord over and over and over again on this. They mentioned Rigoletto.
Rigoletto.
Yes, Rigoletto.
I know in the comics that he was the one that got Fisk started.
Mhm.
But do you think we're going to see him show up in some of these other shows?
Maybe in
Rigoletto's-
flashbacks.
Rigoletto's dead.
As far as I know, he's dead, yeah.
Right, but I mean
Yeah,
that
because
doesn't exclude flashbacks.
No, you're
that's
right.
true.
It doesn't exclude flashbacks, so maybe we'll get a flashback to him.
Maybe.
Who knows?
I don't know. I
There's
kind
plenty.
of like him as just this menacing figure we never get to see.
The
Mhm.
menacing
Past.
figure you never get to see.
Yeah.
Aren't those always the best?
There are a lot of the times the scarier ones.
Very much so. So, I don't know what else to talk about here. We covered most of the major Easter eggs. Really, all I can say is I'm really, really hopeful for Iron Fist. Like, I'm
There
excited
was
for
another
that.
little minor
Oh,
Easter egg.
Me too. Iron Fist is going to be amazing.
You remember when, what's her name? The doctor lady. What was the doctor lady's name?
Claire.
Claire.
Claire. You remember when Claire chose to call Matt when he gave him the seemingly random nickname Mike?
Yeah.
Yes, I love that.
There was an arc in the Daredevil comics in which Daredevil created an alter ego for himself named Mike Murdoch, and he is basically Matt's twin brother. And it was pretty short arc or whatever, and they ended up dropping it because it was confusing to fans and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
that was definitely, I think, what they were aiming for with that nickname.
That is really funny.
So
That is really funny indeed.
That's the kind of stuff you only pick up on it when you Google it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's or super fans.
Like crazy super fans, which we're fans, but we're not that crazy.
Like, oh yeah, you remember two issues back in the 1980s arc of Daredevil where he decided to have multiple personalities and he was calling himself Mike? Yeah, that's totally what they were going for there. How do you pick up on that? That was 30 years ago.
I didn't read enough Daredevil to have picked up on that, even if it was last year.
Right.
Yeah.
So, kudos to people who picked that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just curious now how the rest of this is going to tie in. I know there was like little other nods to villains like in the background of what's his name? Potter.
So Melvin Potter is the villain known as the Gladiator.
Mm-hmm.
And in the back of his shop we see like a half of a suit
Yeah,
of
Stiltman.
Stiltman. Of
Yeah,
Stiltman's
yeah.
costume. So that's 2 villain drops right there. And then Owlsley is actually there's a villain called the Owl.
Right, but they killed Owlsley off, so...
I mean,
Did they?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fisk bashed
Whoa,
his head in.
wait, he has a son!
He does have a son.
He has a son.
Oh yeah, Fisk. Because I remember him like trying to sweet talk Fisk, and I couldn't remember now if he actually died or not.
He died,
He
Yeah.
did.
but he
But
does
he-
have
but
a
he-
son.
He mentioned his son a lot.
He mentioned his son was mentioned more than needed to be mentioned.
Oh yeah, of course.
I'm
So-
curious if some of this background stuff is going to show up like Stiltman, if we're going to see that later on in the Defender series, or
Really
if
cool.
that's something that could end up on one of the 2 Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. shows that are coming out. And,
God, a
you know,
spin-off of that already. That's.
I mean,
and if Agent Carter is picked up for another season, there's so much Marvel going on. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know where to turn anymore.
and I think that any of these setups can be used anywhere if the need and opportunity arises.
Yeah.
And did
I-
in? Oh well, that's complete. Not a complete topic shift, but still going back to MCU. Did any of you see this interview from Joss Whedon come out like a day or two ago, where
Yes.
he was talking about his involvement in the MCU and how Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. got started?
Yeah.
I did not read that article.
Yeah, he was like, Disney hired me to make some movies, right? And then I made this TV show called Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then Disney came up to me and was like, "What are you doing? We told you to make told you to make Age of Ultron, and you went and made this TV show." He was like, "Yeah, because this tells the story of Age of Ultron." Well, hand it to your brother. You're running the movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, you
And
know
then
what?
this is his last, Age of Ultron is his last involvement with the MCU.
Yeah,
Like, he's gone after this.
Disney actually kicked him out, which is
I
kind of
mean,
stupid.
that's probably why.
But-
I mean, Joss has always preferred TV. I don't think he would have been satisfied just doing movies.
Yeah, and you know what though? To their credit, his brother and his brother's wife,
Brother's wife.
they are fantastic writers.
Yeah.
So I mean,
They really are.
a lot of Whedon's shows that his name is stamped on, they wrote a lot of too. You'll find their names plastered all over it too. So.
Oh yeah. Dollhouse is mostly Moe's work.
Right, exactly. And Dollhouse, the first season of Dollhouse was fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
That show unfortunately kind of spiraled badly towards the end, but I liked it. Good show.
There's another reference that has 2 vague hints at. Madame Gao says the wheel that constantly turns, and it might not have just been a Buddhist reference, but also to it was an organization called the Great Wheel. And the old writing on Matt and Foggy's office door was for Van Lunt, who is part of the wheel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So I would not be surprised if. Oh yeah, and Owlsley says that they were a big beneficiary of the post-incident restoration.
The post-incident.
Yeah.
Yeah. I noticed,
So that's another one that's probably going to be important.
whenever there's news to be covered, whether it's in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., whether it's in the movies, whether it's in the Daredevil, they use the same news channel, which is WHIH. I don't know what it stands for, but I've noticed it. It's in everything to do with the MCU, so I like the fact that they're keeping that consistent.
I'm guessing it's their version of Fox or their version of Eyewitness News or some shit like that.
Yeah, it's some world news coverage. I don't actually know what it stands for. Should
yeah, so
probably Google it.
It's basically it's their version of Fox. We'll just say that because Fox is everywhere. I mean, you can pick up a Fox News channel or an ABC, Eyewitness News or whatever channel everywhere, right? In the U.S.
I believe so.
Pretty much. So
Yeah, this is world news though. It goes beyond that.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah.
So this is
WHIH World News, a TV channel based in Atlanta.
well,
Yeah, it's the actual news channel for the cinematic universe.
Yeah, they don't actually say what it stands for. I can't find anything on that.
oh, I mean, yeah.
It's a Hydra front.
Most of the time,
believe them.
all letters don't stand for anything.
Right, exactly. So a lot of times call letters don't. The radio station I did radio for a year in college. It was WCPR. It stood for Castle Point Radio. Because we were on Castle Point in Hoboken. So I mean, those actually stood for something. But Eric
I
is
know
right.
CNN is cable news network, so
Right, but Eric is right. A lot of times, those W call sign letters, sometimes they are just gibberish.
mm.
Or sometimes it's the meaning is so old or outdated or whatever. Like HBO, they never call it home box office anymore.
No one calls it whole.
No.
MGM Studios, Metro
Yeah.
Goldwyn Mayer. No one calls it that. It's MGM.
Right.
So, yeah, exactly. Maybe they're outdated too.
AOL.
No one calls
America
it America.
Online.
They're not even AOL anymore.
Right.
So
Jeez,
Gee,
terrible.
God.
All this
All right.
shit's changing.
Hydra.
you-
What's that
do you-
stand for?
Do you think we're gonna see anything to do with Daredevil? Hints of it? Anything or the Defenders in Age of Ultron?
There might be a couple of subtle drops, especially if they seem to be consolidating how powered people are getting their powers in the MCU, keeping it to a couple of explanations and not the vast majority of ways that actual, comics explain it.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to be consolidating
I
it
don't
to
think that we're gonna
Inhumans
get-
or experiments.
Yeah.
For the I don't know. The one thing I've noticed, I'm thinking is going on is as a Age of Ultron is a very tight narrative. It's not going to be
Right.
the overarching things like the MCU has been in the past.
Right.
So
It's very true.
Yeah, and I don't think we're gonna get any Daredevil, even nods in Ultron, because Daredevil's not a big hitter. He's this one guy in Hell's Kitchen
Yeah,
right now.
it's very true.
And assuming that this is at least within a couple months of the events of Age of Ultron, we're probably not going to hear about him.
Right, he's not exactly a big deal yet.
No.
So, there's that.
I would just like to see like Thor walk by. What's it? Murdoch's office, whatever. Nelson and Murdoch.
Yeah.
They could do something like that. Doesn't take away from the narrative.
That'd be pretty awesome.
No, you're right. But
So is there anything else you guys want to cover with this?
we hit. I really wanted to bring up Madame Gao and Iron Fist. So we covered all that.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think there are many much more
Yeah, I mean they threw a lot of nods to the comic book in. I know.
tie-ins that aren't going to be speculative.
Yeah, I know. Like Josie's bar, the gym. What was it?
Fogwell's.
Fogwell's gym. The priest and that one police officer, Brett Mahoney. He that was all straight out of the comics. So
Right.
They followed him really well.
They did. They nodded. They gave their appropriate nods to the comics, and I couldn't complain.
No.
I mean,
They did a great job. They even went as far back as hiding little things for people to notice, like the apartment in which Matt and Foggy went into, and they where they put their office. The original logo that was on the back there was Atlas, and that was the original company that was Marvel before they were Marvel.
Right.
So there's all like little nods and stuff like that they threw. They did a great job of doing stuff like that.
Yeah,
They really did.
they really do. They did, and I appreciate that.
Yeah,
And
none.
maybe some diehard Daredevil comic fanatic will find some gripes or some problems with the nods they gave, but
I could see people getting pissed off about things like Fisk not having his proper suit, but like we said,
They're
they covered
updating
it. They
it.
made a joke of it. To me, that's all you had to do.
they're updating it for the times, and like I
Yep.
said, I appreciate that.
the only thing I saw from so-called super fans was that Fisk was not large enough,
Yeah.
but
I
he's
think that
not
too.
officially the
He's not officially the Kingpin
yeah,
yet.
he's not officially Kingpin yet. So he might end up getting like ballistic armor or something, and as to his bulk, who knows?
Or he may spend every waking moment in prison in the weight room.
Right,
So, I mean, who knows? He was big enough for me.
right.
I mean,
Yeah, he worked for me too.
they weren't... I don't think they wanted to go, like I said, comically large
No.
in the previous episode. Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're good.
Yeah.
So, unless someone brings something up, I believe that's our show.
I had something to say, but it flew away, so...
You had
must not
something
have
to
been
say,
that
but it
important.
flew away.
You're a
We'll get
poet
to
and you
it.
didn't even know it.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
Amazing.
it's amazing. That's our show, everybody. Cleo, where can they find you and your fleeting ideas?
They can find my fleeting ideas at Cleomoto on the Twitters and the socials, and you can find me on Twitch at the Cleomoto. I've been so busy this week, I have not even streamed once.
So sad.
So sad. Too bad, so sad.
Erica, where can they find you?
All over the internet at Erica Rain 7.
Many places on the internet.
Yes.
Dom?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Oh.
Are there any other Doms on this podcast?
There might be. I don't know.
Cleo's middle name is Dom, just so you know.
Oh,
Do
okay.
do 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 do.
You can find me down below at Phenomenon.
Yes, you can.
Do do do
PHENOMEDOM.
do do do.
And you can find me at Philodrin on Twitter and Twitch. And you can follow all of us. You can follow all of us on Facebook, Gmail, Twitter, Google+, MySpace, and YouTube at ASOTV Podcast. You follow us at those places for some more podcasts or some of your favorite TV shows, including Gotham, which is coming up soon. If you're watching us live, it's coming up right after this.
It's ending soon. Yeah.
Thank you for watching, everybody. Have a lovely night. Day, time, whatever.
Have a lovely time of day.
Yes, I should say that.
That should be our new outro.
That should be my trademark.
Also, Daredevil's amazing, and I want all the Defenders now.
And their butts.
And their butts. Especially their butts.